David Colapinto is General Counsel of the National Whistleblower Center and specializes in QTAM cases. He is co-author of Whistleblower Law, a guide to the legal protections for corporate employees, and he is a really great guy. David, do you want to come up and introduce the next couple of speakers?
Thank you, Jane, for those kind words. 240 years ago today, there wasn't just a bipartisan consensus to protect whistleblowers. There was a unanimous consensus in the Continental Congress to do so. And today, we depend upon at least a bipartisan consensus to protect whistleblowers. And it gives us some hope and encouragement when there are dedicated people who work in some of these government offices that have been created by Congress to protect whistleblowers. And we may not always agree with what these agencies do, but we can take some pride and some solace in the fact that there are dedicated people who really do believe in whistleblower rights in some of these agencies. And one such person is Tristan Leavitt, who is here today to represent the Office of Special Counsel. He is the Principal Deputy of the OSC, and will you please give him a warm welcome?
It's a great honor and privilege for me to be here with you today. I don't know if anyone has kind of thought through the timeline of this, but as has been identified, IG Horowitz mentioned that this is the 40th anniversary of the IG Act, and it also happens to be the 40th anniversary of the Civil Service Reform Act of 1978. And I think it's quite significant that, as Steve's research has dug up, that act, both of those acts, were passed exactly 200 years after the resolution that's been much discussed today, highlighting the contributions of whistleblowers. I think that's a very auspicious timeline and a good recognition of the significance that these events have for our government. Special Counsel Henry Kerner, who spoke at this luncheon last year while he was awaiting confirmation by the Senate, sends his warm regards as well. Both Henry and I are very, very grateful for the warm support of the whistleblower community. I came to OSC as the number 2 official 1 year ago after working here on Capitol Hill for 8 years. 4 years of that was for the patron saint of whistleblowers, Senator Chuck Grassley, to whom I'm immensely grateful. Over the course of my time on the Hill, I interacted with hundreds of whistleblowers, including many of you here in this room, both who consider yourselves whistleblowers as well as those in the whistleblower advocacy community. I hope that those of you that I have interacted with over time, as well as those of you who know Henry Kerner, know that we are very passionate about protecting whistleblowers. Because of this experience for me, coming to OSC was really a dream job. And I'm grateful to Henry Kerner as well as to his predecessor at OSC for giving me the opportunity. Part of what I loved most about staffing the whistleblower hotlines, both for Senator Grassley and then for the House Oversight and Government Reform Committee, was I had the opportunity to interact with people all the time. And many of them were people that I felt like I could help. I was in a position to help in some way. Sometimes that was by helping their disclosures to be investigated and to be heard, and those led to things like congressional investigations. Sometimes they weren't things that we were in a position to do something with, but we were able to direct them to the right place and to explain the process, such as how things worked at OSC or at various inspectors general offices. Sometimes, and these were often the most difficult, even if I couldn't do anything else, I felt like it was meaningful in some cases just to be able to hear someone out, to be able to say to them as one human being to another, I'm really sorry that this happened to you. This sounds like a horrible thing that you've experienced. Sometimes everyone needs that kind of listening ear. Even when I did think that someone's disclosures or their case for whistleblower protection stood a pretty good chance of success, I tried really hard to help manage their expectations. Even in some of the biggest congressional investigations you may hear of, the whistleblowers involved there did not have an easy road, as you can imagine, any more than those of you who have blown the whistle had. In those cases, I tried to help them to understand that notwithstanding the protections that were in law, being a whistleblower didn't give one a shield or an umbrella. It didn't mean just because there's protection that no federal manager would ever have a lack of respect for those protections. And of course, at the end of the day, even rights with remedies take time for those remedies to be vindicated and for the process to play itself out. A lot of harm may happen in the time before someone is vindicated. Nevertheless, I was always touched by the courage of those who came forward. So having been at OSC for this period of time, as much as I miss those day-to-day interactions, I am grateful for the work of those at OSC who handle those day-to-day. One of the things that I found is most difficult is that out of the thousands of individuals who come to OSC, and we receive about 6,000 claims a year, there's only a small percentage of those that we are able to do something with. Some of that comes down to the limitations in the law. Some of it comes down to the fact that OSC is a small agency. Inspector General Horowitz mentioned having their size of staff for a portion. OSC covers the entire federal government. But even when those things are not things that OSC is able to follow up on, I hope that people feel like they're heard by OSC. Those who know me know that I want to do whatever I can within my power to be helpful. As a political appointee, there's a unique balance between being able to help set a tone of leadership in an agency and ensuring there's a process with integrity while respecting the judgment of the crew professionals. But we are focused at OSC on doing all that we can to shorten our process, to ensure that our operations become more efficient, and to provide good customer service along the way, so that even if the answer that we come back to someone with is a negative one, people can feel like they were heard. I do hope that the work that we're doing at OSC is meaningful for people. Ernie Fitzgerald used to say that he was just punished for the crime of telling the truth, and I genuinely believe that for so many people, blowing the whistle is an act of conscience. Whistleblowers are the most patriotic people I know. So to all those of you who have helped ensure that taxpayer dollars are protected, who have helped to shine a light on fraud and abuse in the federal government, who have helped to draw attention to imminent threats in public health, to all of you say thank you. All of us and the American people owe you a great debt. Thank you very much.